Hey, Cynthia, how are you? It's good to see you. I'm so excited that you're taking time out for me. I know you're so busy.
It's my
And
pleasure, Tony.
yeah, I was just, I have a lot of respect for your positioning of being a town manager. I had no idea all the responsibility that you have to do. I was like, my wife, I was sitting there talking to her, and I go, oh my gosh, this woman has so much on her plate. So, what what made you decide to be a town manager? Like, how'd that come about?
So I started out my career as a newspaper reporter, and right out of college, I used to sit in the back of city council meetings. And at that time, it was right after Watergate. The idea was that people need to have fair journalism explaining complicated issues so that they have the information they need to make important decisions. So I sat in the back of the council chambers and I watched the council meetings and I thought, these people need help. I could do this. So that's what I ended up doing, is went back to school, got my master's degree in public administration, and ended up working in city government. So I've worked in local government now for 34 years.
So what made you come to the Grand Canyon? Like, how did that come about?
I retired from the city of Phoenix in
Okay.
2010, and
Wow.
the town of Tusayan had just gotten started, and they needed an interim manager to serve for a few months while they did the recruitment and hired their permanent manager. So I came up to Tusayan in November of 2010, and it was me and a laptop and a cell phone, and wherever I went, I was town hall. So I did that for about 4 or 5 months while they hired their first full-time manager. So I got to know a little bit about Tusayan then. And then last fall, I got a phone call saying, our manager is leaving. We need another interim manager. You've been here before. Would you be willing to come back again? So that's why I came back last October.
Wow. You've done an incredible job, by the way.
It's very nice of you to say, Stony. I don't think people understand, first of all, the role of a city, like being of a company. When you have a corporation, stockholders elect a board of directors, and that board of directors hires a CEO to run things. And it's the same thing with the city manager. The citizens elect a city council, and the city council manages the community. So Tusayan's got a lot of challenges and a lot of interesting issues, and it's was interesting before the pandemic, and now it's more interesting during the pandemic because the town has 600 residents. Nearly all of them have been laid off, so that people in Tusayan, many of them have not had any paychecks for 4, 6 weeks or more, and trying to do what we can to make sure that people in the community healthy and safe has been the real priority of the community.
Yeah, I've been so blessed by what our community's been doing up here. I've been in the big city of Las Vegas, and it's not the same. I mean, it's like when this came about, everyone pulled together. The town of Tucson, all the volunteers came up, and then I just think that people need to know how blessed we are up here in our little community and how wonderful it is, for these experiences that we've been going through at this time, through a tough time.
People have very generous in making sure that they're keeping each other safe. You know that it's an hour's drive to the nearest grocery store. And so if you have people who haven't had paychecks for that number of weeks, they're going to have a difficulty buying gas, much less groceries. So as you know, the town has really been focusing on two things so far, which is making sure people have the food they need. So partnering with the Spirit of the Canyon and the Food Bank and the food pantry, the town has been funding supplemental food to the St. Mary's Food Bank so that everybody gets groceries every week. And we're serving hundreds and hundreds of families. And the town has also been paying for the food distributed in the weekend backpack program. So the food that school children get to cover them for the weekend is being purchased by the town of Tusayan. And then further, the council told us to buy the computers. So the community, the school district told us they had some 55 families without to the Wi-Fi because they didn't have any kind of computerized device. So the town purchased those computers, loaned to the school district so that the kids of the community can continue their online learning. And now Now we're looking at what supplies are the businesses going to need to be able to open successfully. In Arizona, cities and towns are allowed to spend money for economic development, making sure that the economy will be able to start and people kept safe is the next step. And the council recently authorized hundreds of thousands of dollars to be spent to buy the kinds of supplies that our businesses in town are going to need to be open successfully. So we're buying masks and gloves and no-touch thermometers, and we're looking at hand sanitizer and disinfectants and other kinds of things that we can purchase now to be ready for when the Grand Canyon National Park reopens.
I'm so impressed. I was on that meeting when you were educating all the businesses on, their thoughts of, how are we going to get prepared? And I see that we're going to set a standard here in our community of, wearing masks, having hand sanitizers, having gloves. And I think if we all keep messaging about how important it is for the visitors coming up to see us, to keep us safe, and at the same time, the employers and the employees can keep them safe, and they can have a wonderful experience at the Grand Canyon.
I think that's the hope. There was a New York Times story today that talked about travel and what you can expect when travel starts up again. And a couple of things that it said really struck home with me. One is it said that road trips to national parks are probably going to be right at the top of the list, that's something that will be appealing to people. And then secondly, it said that the hotel stay experience is probably going to have to change because people are going to have to feel that things are constantly being disinfected and that they're safe. And I think you heard that on the other call that we had the other day, which is that the hotels are really looking at doing everything they can, disinfecting after every transaction at a desk, having the plexiglass dividers, rotating the rooms, leaving them empty for 24 or 48 hours after someone checks out, just so that there's an additional level of cleanliness and that people can feel secure and certain that things are being taken care of and that they'll be safe there.
It's incredible what everyone has to do under these conditions, and I just want to thank you so much, the Mayor Sanders and Brady Harris and the whole council team of what you guys have been doing to support our community. Because without this help, a lot of businesses wouldn't be able to reopen without having those supplies. And
the town council deserves a lot of credit. The town council deserves a lot of credit. Remember, I believe that 4 out of the 5 of them have been furloughed or laid off. So these are council members who, like their residents, have a lot of needs and attention and other things that are going on in their lives, and yet they've focused on trying to make sure that the town's resources are being spent in the best way possible to help our citizens during this state of emergency pandemic.
Wow. Yeah, it is incredible. So one more thing before we go.
Sure.
Because I gotta, I always want you to, I want everyone to share what is your favorite thing about the Grand Canyon, or the favorite spot that you really enjoy with your family and when you're going out?
Well, a couple of years ago, we did an 8-day raft trip down the Grand Canyon, and it was a motorized raft trip. And what was even better is I won it at a charity auction. So I won mine for the price of the raffle tickets, and then they let me buy a discounted ticket for my husband. And so being in the Grand Canyon on the water during the season, the monsoon season, so it was hot during the day and cool at night, and you saw all the stars, and when there would be a monsoon rainstorm, you'd see 1,000 waterfalls. That was pretty fabulous.
So now you know why I came up with the Spirit of the Canyon, because you were blessed by the Spirit, right?
Yep, indeed.
All right. Well, I appreciate everything you do, and I am going to miss you so much. And you're moving, you're moving back to where
Well, the plans are not final yet, but I was hired as an interim manager for 6 months, and I've already been here almost 7. And the council is in the process of choosing a new full-time permanent manager. And you really need a manager who will live there at the Grand Canyon and commit deeply to the community. But my son's graduating high school this year, and we have a home in Flagstaff, and so we're going to be evaluating all the changes that we'll be making in our lives at this point.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, and I'll be seeing you at the next food bank, right?
Look forward to it. That weekly food distribution, that's as hands-on support for the community as you can possibly get. And Stony, thank you for all that you and Christine have done to make that event a success and make it more organized.
Well, I appreciate you. You have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.